He's widely regarded as the greatest Japanese wrestler ever, winning everything New Japan has to offer within his weight class. Today, we are breaking it down for Hiroshi Tanahashi. What's up, people? It's your boy Mex, the WrestleManiac, if you will, and we're back again with another episode of Break It Down. This is the show where we look at wrestlers, different attributes, and determine how good they really are. We have a star-studded panel for today's discussion. We have Ola, our very own NK, and WrestleIn's very own Kieran. Guys, Hiroshi Tanahashi is the subject. Tell me your greatest memories of Tanahashi before we get into this.
God damn. I mean, I've got personal memories because I've met him a few times and stuff like that. But
Here we go.
Yeah, humble, not so humble brag. No, but I mean, for me, I saw him win G125. I was in Ryogoku for that, and that was made. That was him versus Shinsuke Nakamura. It was like Nakamura's last big match before Wrestle Kingdom, and he left for WWE. It was like a swan song. There were people crying in the audience and stuff, like, you know, because they're just so invested in it over in Japan, man. I can't. That match is seared into my brain.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me, like, when I think of Tanahashi, I think of his G1 Climax 28 final against Kota Ibushi.
Yes. Hell yes.
Like that's like one of the best pure babyface performances like you'll see. Like, just his energy and the fact that, you know, at that point in time his body had been broken down, so it wasn't just athleticism, it was just like pure raw storytelling. Yeah, man. That G1 Climax, that's the best G1 final I think of all time.
Yeah, same. Like, as well, going into that story was Tanahashi's body is broken down.
Yeah.
Can he do a
Can
G1?
continue?
He goes on and wins it, and then, like, what, 4 or 5 years later, the guy's still putting on 5-star classics now.
Yeah,
we was questioning this all that time ago.
Ola?
These men have stolen everything. They stole everything. But I would have said the Ibushi match as well, man. And obviously, meeting them personally when they came over was
Royal Quest.
Yeah.
Royal Quest.
That was nice.
That was sick, man.
Right, so you guys know how it goes. We rating Tanahashi on a scale of his aesthetic, his promo ability, his ability in ring, and his legacy. You guys hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. You're gonna enjoy this one. We're gonna break it down for Hiroshi Tanahashi. Right, boys, first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna talk about the aesthetic. So this is his appearance, what he wears to the ring, the entrance music, everything that is the packaging of the man, Tanahashi. So you write down a score between 0 and 5. You can write your 0.5s as well if you need to. And we're gonna start with Kieran. So Kieran, if you wanna hold up your board.
I'm trying to put a fucking pen lid. Easy, man.
5
5,
out
man.
of 5. NK?
I was gonna be a little bit harsh. I did a 4.
4 out of 5, okay. And Ola has gone with 5 out of 5 as well. So why not the full 5?
Do you know what? I just feel like, for example, I feel like there's people slightly, like, who had slightly better aesthetics than him. I think of, like, Shinsuke. I feel like Shinsuke was slightly better than him. I think, like, Okada at points in time, especially when it comes to Wrestle Kingdom entries, is slightly better than him.
Yeah.
But Tanahashi's in the conversation for sure. But yeah, I just felt like there was a couple guys that I could name that have slightly better aesthetics. That's why I was like, do you know what? That's why he's a 4 for me, but I'm not mad at the Mandem putting at 5, especially because even like Tanahashi's hair has become a running joke. When Tanahashi gets his hair done and everything, you know the match is going to be sick in it. So yeah, and plus the entrances, fam, like high energy, the first entrance, and then the Go Ace entrance, it's definitely like a 4 and above. So yeah, that's why I put it a 4, because I thought certain people might be better than him here and there. But yeah, he's up there.
I just think it's the most baller thing that his outfit attire always has a space specifically for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship.
For the belt, innit?
That's completely. That's so baller. He's so confident. He knows that belt's coming around his waist. Like,
Yeah. No, I hear that. Ola, talk to me about his aesthetic.
like, they keep on stealing everything, man.
How come
to
to
him
you first
first.
next time?
They keep on stealing everything, but obviously there's the hair, there's the jazzy attire, like the bro said. The
air guitar.
The
I was about to
space
say, like,
for the title, air guitar. You got muscular Japanese hunk that the women love. Like, come on, man, it's a 5.
Like, air guitar should be cringe as hell.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way he should be doing that, and we're all like, fuck yeah, go Tanahashi.
Yeah,
you play your air guitar. We should all be like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
Like, but he fucking owns it.
He's made it very, very cool. Yeah, it's true. All right. I mean, NK, we have to convince you to come up to a 5.
I don't mind, you know. Like I could be okay with a 5. Like the man didn't put-
Anyone want to sell
NK
NK
makes
on
a
the
good
5?
point. I'd be happy to go like 4.5 because he's right. There are guys like
So we have to go
Nakamura.
with either a 4 because that's what's in play here, a 4 or the 5.
I think a 4 is fair because I feel like there are guys who are like do have better attires than a minute. Like just, I feel like he's up there, but like I wouldn't say he's cream of the crop. Like even somebody like a Naito at sometimes like when Naito comes with the mask and the suit. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, I think a 4, you know what? Yeah, 4's...
Yeah.
Like, I'm not mad at a 5, the Mandem did 5, but I think
You know
4
what
is
it is
fair.
as well. Yeah, you say Naito when it's big match comes
Yeah.
out in the suit. He'll put on the mask on very rare occasions and stuff. Tanahashi doesn't have that upper thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He doesn't have that next step he can take. Like Shinsuke Nakamura, Wrestle Kingdom came out with a fucking crown.
Even if you go back to Prince Devitt, when he used to do the face paint, there's wrestlers that when it comes to the big stage,
occasion,
they'll
there's
up
something
it
more.
even more. Do you know what I'm
Tanahashi
saying?
is always at that level, so he can't.
He's always like he's very consistently good, but it's never like, oh my god, this is one of the greatest entrances I've ever seen.
Yeah. Fair enough. So are you guys buying the argument? Go on.
There's a space for
No, it's a great attention to detail. It's great attention to detail, but for example, when I think of like Okada's entrance in Wrestle Kingdom 14, where he came in with like the glow, like when the lights went off and the suit was kind of
glowing in the dark.
reflective,
Yeah.
like, and then all the money
rain,
coming down. And then Naito with the mask, or Nakamura, a Wrestle Kingdom 9 when he came with the crown and the cape, or Wrestle Kingdom 8 when he came with the dancers on the pole. Like Tanahashi doesn't have those level of entrances.
It's not, like he's had someone like play into the ring before on the guitar and
he
stuff,
has,
his old
he
one,
has,
but
he
him
has.
himself, like he doesn't have that new outfit to go out in. Or, and obviously he does his hair special and stuff, but. No, I agree. And NK's made a really good point.
What are we doing, guys?
Even had a Tekken attire where there was a lion like this. but because, you know...
Are we going to drop down to 4 with NK?
I'm happy to go 4.
Cool. So if you're all right, 4 on the board. And then show it
I didn't
one
know I'd
more
have to write, man.
time.
My handwriting's awful.
That's cool. Hiroshi Tanahashi, his aesthetic is a 4. Right, next up, we're going to talk about Hiroshi Tanahashi's promo ability. Very difficult, as I assume none of us are Japanese native speakers, but his ability to engage the crowd, at least how the crowd reacts. I know less so in New Japan, they're doing things like cutting promos and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. It's more sports than entertainment, but, you know, we get the press conferences and all that other stuff backstage. So let's give scores. I'm gonna start. Let's start with NK. NK, what score have you given him?
Based on, I've given a 5. Based on Japanese, right? I don't speak Japanese, but you have to look at Tanahashi in context, right? He's the person who saved the company when the company was going through, you know, surviving Enochiism and all of that type of stuff. And the type of babyface he was something that wasn't like prominent in the Enochiism, the type of babyface that got to come and be like, I love you. He's the one, and if you think about like the fans he managed to engage, it wasn't just like young boys, like he was popular with women. Like which was like an audience that New Japan hadn't really got into.
Let me stop you there. Let's see what Kieran's got.
I mean, I went with a 4 just
4.
because, obviously the language barrier is there, but like the guy can turn on the waterworks just like that, man. The guy's crying all the time in his backstage comments. It's hard not to get invested when you've got a grown ass man crying in front of you.
Ola, what have you given him?
Me, I've never cried.
That's fair.
I've never cried. I don't know Japanese.
That's fair.
But I can't give him a 0 because he gets the emotion coming from the crowd.
Yeah.
I see them crying, but me, I don't understand it.
Yeah, that's fair. If I was doing that on a rating based on me, obviously it'd be like, oh, I don't understand Japanese in it, but I just see like the reaction he gets from the crowd. And then obviously I will never forget this moment. Wrestle Kingdom 9, the main event ended. Okada loses. Okada is leaving the ring crying. This is bit ill. Crying. And the Tanahashi is just chatting shit in the ring. Basic, obviously, translate.
Sorry, was this their second match? Was this the year they had back-to-back main events?
So they had back-to-back Wrestle Kingdom 10.
9 and 10.
9 and 10.
Yeah.
Oh,
this is the first
Tanahashi
match
won
then.
at 9.
Yeah,
this is the first
Tanahashi
one.
won at 9. Okada's leaving the ring crying. Tanahashi's basically in the ring saying, listen, you're good, but you ain't on my level. Like, you'll never be me. And just the visual of a man crying, losing the title. And then Tanahashi, you know how Wrestle Kingdom does it with all the trophies, the confetti, and then the promo. He said like you're just basically not gonna be me.
Berating someone in tears.
I was like, you know what? That moment there will forever live on in my head. No matter what Okada achieves in his career, and he's one of the greatest of all time. That's the lowest point in his career, and that's because of Tanahashi. And the promo added to it as well. But yeah, it's hard to rate Japanese in it. I can't sit here with full chest and be like, he's a 5, because half of the time I'm using Google Translate or reading subtitles. So it's like, I'm just going off like, based on like the documentaries that New Japan have made, and obviously which are biased as well, because New Japan have made them, but just like the impact he had on like bringing audiences back, bringing New Japan back to prominence when it wasn't before. Like that has to like he's the reason why we watch New Japan today. Like if it wasn't for people like him and Shinsuke, you know, hustling in the late 2000s and the early 2010s, we wouldn't be sitting here watching this product. So that's why for me it's more so impact. But yeah, that's why for me he's a 5 in it. But if somebody wants to bring him down because he don't speak Japanese, don't speak English, that's fair.
Apart from the language barrier, Kieran, is there anything else that you think he's still more 4 than a 5?
NK mentioned it like as well. The fact that his catchphrase is in Japanese, "I love you, Ashimasu." Again, air guitar and the guy saying "I love you." It's cringy as fuck. Like why do we love this guy? How is he so fucking good? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at first the crowd agreed. They was like, "What the fuck? This is pro wrestling." Like, you know, Inoki would never get in a ring and say that. Why are you saying "I love you"? They hated him for it, and he stuck with it. And it's fucking a catchphrase now. People have the massive towels that literally just say "I love you." You're like, if you're in the crowd at Royal Quest, if he got on the mic and done it, we all would have been sat there and fucking pumped our fist. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's a credit to how good he obviously must be on the mic, that he can get something as silly as "I love you" over with an audience and everything. And yeah, like, it is difficult because we are watching everything subtitled. You know, I think we can get the gist, like, you know, that we don't struggle with films or anime and shit like that. Like, I'm sure we all consume other Japanese content. You know what I mean? So I think he can get his point across well enough. But yeah, there is always going to be like a little bit of barrier. We're not going to understand the nuance and stuff like that you can't understand through subtitles.
That's a good point. So we've got a 4, we've got a 5, and we've got a 2 over here. Where are we ending up, guys?
I'm definitely not going down to a 2 on my boy.
I'd say
Go to a 4. I don't mind going to a 4, but I think like giving a 5.
Yeah.
When I'm lazy. Even the reading the subtitles, bro, like I don't want to do it. But obviously, to get the air guitar over and all that stuff, I can definitely come up to a 4. But a 5 is.
There's definitely some good stuff in there.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, people are watching this, be guided. Like, we're not saying like, oh my god, he's on the same level as a US promo. We're just saying in context in Japan, the crowd reaction he gets in Japan.
Yeah.
That's what we're ranking in it. So like, please don't come for us and say, oh my god, we think he's a better promo than the Miz or someone. We're not saying that. Like, we don't know. We're just saying in Japan.
All right. So Ola, you happy to go to a 4?
Yeah.
So we're agreeing with Kieran.
I'm good with a 4. Like,
Cool.
I'm happy with that.
So if we can get 4 on the boards, then everyone lift up the board to show Tanahashi's promo is a 4. Right, so next up, guys, we are talking about Tanahashi's ability. This is the man between the ropes, how good he is as a wrestler, moveset, etc., etc. Ola, you look stumped. I'm coming to you first. Yeah? But guys, just obviously do the usual stuff. Make sure you've subscribed and you've liked the video. Make sure you're playing along as well. Write in the comments Tanahashi's aesthetic, his promo, all of that good stuff. Ola, we ready?
Yeah.
Tanahashi's in-ring ability. Ola, put up the boards. He's still writing. 4.5. Cool. NK, let's go next. A 5. And Kieran, a 10. I'll take that as a very strong
5. Yeah.
Yeah. NK, talk to me about Tanahashi's in-ring ability.
It's non-negotiable. It's a 5. It's non-negotiable. I'm not debating nothing. That's the clearest 5 on the list. Listen. The catalogue of matches Tanahashi has put on, when I think of AJ Styles at G1 Climax 24, when I think of Shinsuke Nakamura at Wrestle Kingdom 8, When I think of obviously the series with Okada, I think of Kota Ibushi at G1 Climax 28. There are so many. I think of Minoru Suzuki. I think of so many different bangers that Tanahashi has put on. And the thing is, especially Tanahashi later on in age, right? And this is what we say about wrestlers: when your physical abilities dwindle due to age, what can you do? Tanahashi hasn't been in his prime for, I'd say physical prime for at least 6-7 years.
Yeah.
And this guy has still put on captivating matches that people can go back to and be like, that's a classic right there. That's a classic right there. The match with Tetsuya Naito. Tanahashi is one of the greatest in-ring storytellers in the history of this business. If you don't know, do your research and find out. Like, he's great. Like, you could say like maybe this year, obviously age has caught up to him, but throughout like the beginning of his career to the end of the career, like the thing we look forward to is Tanahashi's matches. Bro, like Tanahashi series with Okada is why we rate Okada. If you take away Tanahashi, we don't look at Okada the same.
Yeah.
We don't. Tanahashi is the man. He's the man that KG Muto and the other musketeers handpicked and said, these are the other guys. This is the next. This is the one.
Continue to prove
This is the one. And he's proved it because, like I said, the reason why New Japan is where it is today in the modern era is because of Tanahashi, and he changed the way them man wrestles. Them man were doing shoot-style matches. Them man weren't doing these long-blown epics. Tanahashi is the blueprint that all of these current New Japan man eat off. He's a 5. He's a 5.
So Ola, you'd have given him a 4.5. Where's the other 4.5? The other 5.5 gone? Sorry.
The only reason why is because I've caught like more of the back end half of his career.
Okay.
Like, for example, when you're talking about the Okada and Tana match, the first one, I didn't catch that. So I've only caught the back end, and I've seen some of his stuff with, like, obviously now his knees are starting to give way. That's no secret. So that's probably why I've given it a 4.5, but I understand the 5s, 100%.
Kieran, you spoke on the live experiences you've had. What is it like, being there in terms of seeing a Tanahashi match live to, watching it on TV?
I think NK mentioned it, the match versus AJ Styles at the G1. I'd done the final 3 nights of the G1, and it was the A block final, B block final, I can't remember. It was Tanahashi versus AJ Styles, and they both have said they believe that's probably the best match of their individual careers.
Yeah.
They've both applauded that, because AJ Styles has said he had Tanahashi in the calf crusher, and he looks in the front row and there's grown women
People crying.
literally, like, please do not tap out Tanahashi, literally in tears, crying for this man. And the crowd, I've never heard a louder crowd. I've done Wrestle Kingdoms, I've done WrestleManias, obviously Royal Quest, independent shows. I don't think I've heard a louder crowd than that crowd for
This
Tanahashi.
is Japanese crowd. These man
The
don't...
myth, it's a stupid myth about Japanese audiences don't make noise, man. That's fucking foreigners going over that can't do shit, innit? But like, fuck, man, they're awesome. But yeah, no, he's such... Do you know what? I think the thing is in ring, if you were to break down his moveset, he has not got an exciting moveset.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Lots of dragon screws, yeah. High fly flow, cloverleaf. It's the same stuff. Yeah.
I must say,
But
I
he
never
uses it
loved
wisely,
his
though.
frog splash.
Really?
The high fly flow.
I really don't.
Because I
like
like
the
what it does.
standing one.
I like what it does to the outside and throws man back in ring and does
Yeah.
it again. Because the thing is, it works in doubles. When he does 2 of them, I like it. When it's one, yeah.
But yeah, that's what I mean. He hasn't got the most exciting moveset yet. We're talking at a minimum of him being a 4.5 here.
Yeah.
Like, 2 of us have said
Says a
5.
lot. Says a lot.
It says because
And that's
you see, we talk about it, psychology.
That is it. That is it.
He understands how to draw emotion. You know, because obviously there's guys who are more athletically gifted than him. Sure. But when it comes to making the crowd feel something, listen, that match with Ibushi, you go back, the moveset in that match is lacking. But and that's no disrespect, because what he does, just him even just like absorbing like the slaps from
Hulking
Ibushi and just hulking up, the crowd was screaming just because a man doing. That's Tanahashi. Other guys, would have to do a lot more to get the crowd reaction, but Tanahashi, he just understands what wrestling is. And you go back to that AJ Styles match at G1 Climax 24, that match. the crowd were going insane. And when Tanahashi like even something as simple as when Tanahashi jumps the ropes to do the high five flow, he jump up, jump the rope,
Extravagant.
and then everyone, all the crowd are like, Tana, oh nah, man, like he's just a master. Like in terms of like understanding like the fundamentals of wrestling, he's got it down to a T. Like the match with Minoru Suzuki. I think there was only one.
2012.
There was only one pin attempt in the match.
Just end.
There was one pin attempt in the entire match, but he's still no near full kickouts, no finisher spamming, but he still had the crowd on their feet.
Yeah.
He's a genius, man. He's a genius.
Ola, have the Mandem done enough to
100%.
convince you? It's a 5?
Yeah, man.
Go on, you like guys, right? 5 on your board. And we'll hold it up so that people can see that Tanahashi's ability is a 5. Right, next up, we're going to talk about Hiroshi Tanahashi's legacy. What is the legacy he leaves behind in wrestling, the impact he has made as a wrestler, the championships he has won. We're going to start with Kieran. What have you gone for?
5, easy.
5. NK? 5. Ola? 5. 5's all round. Ola, tell me about the championships, this impact that we're talking about that he's made.
G1 Climax winner, IWGP Heavyweight Champion, IWGP Intercontinental Champion.
Rest in peace.
I mean, the list goes on. You know. Do you wanna?
He's the first Grand Slam champion. He's won everything, like everything. And New Japan, they don't hand out Grand Slams. Okada's never won a title outside the heavyweight. So for him to win,
that's cool though.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's so
Okada's like Lesnar. He doesn't go for anything other than heavyweight. He just goes for that. But he's the first Grand Slam champ. But forget about even Grand Slams. Like I said before, he resurrected he resurrected the company. Like for you to be the reason why, and people historically will look at, New Japan's always been popping. Go back to the 2000s, and Inokiism killed that company. In the 2000s, people weren't talking about New Japan. They were talking about Noah. New Japan weren't selling out no shows. Tanahashi is the baby face. If you look at even early wrestling, what's the first time Wrestle Kingdom Tanahashi main evented? Wrestle Kingdom 2, right?
Early doors, yeah.
It's
like him and Nakamura wrestled main event when they were really young.
Yeah, Wrestle Kingdom. If you go back to the early days of Wrestle Kingdom, the thing we know there, Tanahashi's in the beginning of that. Tanahashi is for example, if you look at people like Okada, how they got over, even people like AJ Styles coming in, they'll all say, listen, Tanahashi's the person even the younger generation guys like Shota Umino, they'll always say, listen, look at Shota Umino's attire, look at the way he does his hair. That's Tanahashi. In terms of Japanese wrestling, yeah, Tanahashi is Mount Rushmore. Like he's Mount Rushmore for that entire, because for you to resurrect a company from the dead is something, and people might be like, we don't know him in the West and so on and so forth, but is this in terms of what he did for industry, a tentpole industry like Japanese wrestling has been a part of wrestling history. We look at Keiji Muto, we look at Inoki, we look at some of the legends that have come from Japan. We can't sleep on them. Tanahashi is there with them. He's absolutely there with them. So for me, legacy wise, he's a 5.
By the time this comes out, we're gonna have the Wrestle Kingdom 17, and we've got the tag match of Muto, Tanahashi, and Shota all on the same team, and it's almost like a bit of an evolution, isn't it?
They could not be making it more obvious what they think
what
for the
they
future
think
showroom in that match.
That's exactly what I thought. Kieran, what about the impact as a Japanese wrestler, but the conversation of he didn't kind of cross over, is his influence on the Western world? What's your opinion on that?
I don't know. I mean, it's not, again, because of his moveset, you can't say a guy like Kenta, John Moxley outright says everyone stole their shit from Kenta back in the day. You know what I mean? He's had an impact in the ring, whereas Tanahashi hasn't really invented stuff. He might have created the sling blade, maybe he invented that, and that's probably about it. The high fly flow is just a frog splash. But I don't know that he's really had that much of an impact on the West, probably, in terms of wrestling itself, in that people aren't going to copy his moves. They're probably just going to learn from him how to pace a match and stuff like that. The shit that us three ain't gonna know shit about because we ain't wrestled a day in our life. Well, I don't think so. I've taken one bump and fucking regret it. But yeah, no, I think like what NK was saying as well. People, I think when you hear Tanahashi save New Japan from the Dark Ages, people like just think, oh, you know, NK might be exaggerating and stuff. But in New Japan were about to go bankrupt. Like Inoki fucked that company. He was embezzling. Like rest in peace. He's like such a fucking fascinating character. But the dude had a lot of good and a lot of bad. And then Ukes came in, the video game company, the guys that made like WWF No Mercy back in the day and shit like that we all love. They bought the company and then they said, okay, now you do what you want to do, and they stuck Tanahashi at the forefront. And yeah, he started attracting bigger audiences. He started attracting a female audience. The dude got stabbed by his like girlfriend or wife at the time, which made mainstream news. So then that like in a roundabout way, it helped him out getting stabbed by his crazy spouse. But yeah, he's done so much. And then, like, I think whatever your metric is, storytelling, he's a 5. Yeah. Accolades, he's a 5. Impact on Japanese wrestling, he's a 5. Like, no matter what, you know, Meltzer star ratings, he's got tons of 5s, you know. I think no matter what your metric is, Tanahashi's at the top of it.
My brother was watching Kamen Rider. I'm not saying Kamen Rider is like a metric for like success, but it's a popular, like, if you look at Kamen Rider and Japanese culture, like, it's huge. It's like Power Rangers in Japan or whatever. And Tanahashi was like one of the main villains of like the show. So, like, he's one of the people that bleeds into like Japanese pop culture for sure. And if you look at like how intrinsically linked like wrestling is to like Japanese culture, for example, even Tekken, bro, bare these New Japan man were in Tekken games. Yeah. For no, just Tekken, Yakuza games, like,
yes.
Do you know what I'm saying? These men were just in the games for no reason because it's them. Yes, and it wasn't oh my God, I'm trying to make as actors. Like, no, he was there as Hiroshi Tanahashi. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
So pop culture figure.
Because the pop, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, yeah, it's gonna be hard for some people to like digest because like, but he didn't make it in the West, but some people are figures in their country and they've influenced their country to the point where they're like, it's clear and we will never know. And like, do you know what I'm saying? It's like, if I was to come here and say, I don't know, like, let me know. Fuck that. Next one.
But yeah, you could obviously say that. Obviously say he's arguably the best out of the 3 Musketeers, including Shibata and
Nakamura. He's achieved more, for sure.
I just had a point. I've lost it.
That's fine. We all agree that his legacy is a 5. Outstanding legacy. NK, if you just want to put it on the board one last time, we'll hold it up. Hiroshi Tanahashi, legacy is a 5. Right, guys, so the scores have been tallied up, and Hiroshi Tanahashi comes out as a 4.5 out of 5 wrestler. What do we think about that? Kieran's face has dropped.
That's a 5. He's a 5. How could if he isn't a 5 in Japan? Like, you know, forget this Western view of him. He didn't make it in the West. Why does he want to make it in the West? He's Japanese. He's arguably the biggest Japanese star, like one of the biggest Japanese stars of all time. Like, he's a 5. In every category, as far as I'm concerned. We've
marked down his aesthetic and we marked down his promo, and that's what it would have come down to. That's why he's not a 5.
The promo part, I get it because we're Westerners, isn't it?
Yeah.
Aesthetic, I stick by, like, I feel like if you average everything all out, but I think like overall, like, it doesn't tell like the full story of his career.
Yeah, I think with his aesthetic though as well, you look back at how he used to be like as well, back when he just had like long black trunks, when he was putting on amazing matches against Nagata and stuff in Kojima. Like, he's come on leaps and bounds in his aesthetic, but
for sure.
We know him in his modern day attire, like we discussed, with the space for the belt and all that stuff. Like, his aesthetic has increased so much. Just not recently. It happened a long time ago, and that's the Tanahashi we're used to.
Yeah.
Personally, I think it's an amazing score. I mean, does the perfect wrestler exist? Does the perfect 5 out of 5 wrestler exist?
No.
I know Kieran's going to say it's Tanahashi.
I was going to say Shibata, but yeah.
Okay, well, you know, we can get to Shibata one day. But I think 4.5 is a very respectable
And I feel
score.
like the legacy, I think what I always say to people, I even said it on WRESTHINGS, like, it's, in terms of like Tanahashi, I think he's like one of the greatest like in-ring storytellers in wrestling. Like, if you want somebody who's gonna like really like break down the essence of like what wrestling is, which is what promoters always say at the time, is getting a reaction from the crowd.
He knows how to do it.
You can't name me 10 people better than him.
He knows how to do it, definitely. Ola, any last words before we get into our final questions?
Nothing really. Just he's the ace for a reason, innit?
Yeah.
Obviously, Shinsuke left, Shibata got injured, and he's the one that led the New Japan resurgence. So, yeah, man.
Yeah, definitely go ace. Now, I think, you know, I've got to ask the question, but I think it's straightforward. Does he go into the Hall of Fame one day?
Yeah.
Does he headline the class?
Yes.
We all agree with that?
Yeah, no
Cool.
doubt.
If you're doing the Wrestling Hall of Fame and you have people who know like different eras of wrestling and can compare, contrast, of course he does.
Yeah.
Of course he does.
We know he's winding down. We all saw the knees definitely at Royal Quest the minute he had his match.
That
The
was
ice packs are
a
on.
bad high fly flow, wasn't it? Jesus.
He didn't even get his knees up to his chest. Like,
He just
He
fell
was
off the
literally
rope.
just trying to get through that
Fell off
match.
the top
yeah.
Put the ice pack straight on. Guys, what's the last thing you would want to see him do in wrestling? If he said, right, Wrestle Kingdom next year, not 2023, sorry, 2024, you know, I'm going to call it a day. What is the last real big thing you want to see Tanahashi do?
I guess him versus Shooter. I guess the passing of the torch. I guess if especially if this Wrestle Kingdom
23,
17. Of 17 pay-per-views to lead into things like they grooming Shooter as like the next one, and I feel like the same way Tanahashi like passed the torch onto Okada in terms of like you're the guy, you're gonna be the face of the company. Like I think he should pass the torch to Shooter, not in terms of like him being the face of New Japan, but being like okay, like you're gonna be like the unchanging baby face, because Okada's controversial. Okada's like, it's intentionally like the crowds are 50-50 split when he's in the match. Tanahashi's the type of person where it don't matter who he's facing, we're cheering for Tanahashi. And I feel like Shota Umino is gonna be that level, should be that level of baby face. I feel like the next feud should be Tanahashi and Shota, and then I don't know who retires him, because who's gonna retire Tanahashi? They might go the cliche route and do Okada, but I don't want that. Okada's taking everything away from him anyways. But, so, yeah, I guess him versus Shooter is the next thing.
Let's hear from Ola. What's the last thing you want to see Tanahashi do in
I
wrestling?
think Tana Shooter's good, but we haven't seen Tana in the West. WrestleMania. Grandest stage of
Now we're
them all.
fantasy booking. Go on.
Grandest stage of them all.
Absolutely not.
Tana, Cena, let them just have it.
It's
Let
not,
them have it.
you know.
Let them have it.
I mean, if you had to book Tanahashi in one match,
Yeah, it would
It
be
is Cena.
Cena. It is
Exactly.
Cena. It is
Yeah.
Cena.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Can you
them
imagine
two. No, I think Tana Cena would be like the perfect like mirroring in terms of like what they mean for each other's company. They mean similar things. But
It's a great fantasy booking shout.
it's a fantasy booking shout.
could happen.
God forbid. Though.
Kieran, Kieran,
And I love
any
since he's in my top 5.
any advances on that? What would you like to see him do to
I
close
don't
his
know.
career?
It's weird in Japan, isn't it? Because they down cycle them. You know, they start moving lower down the cards. Like, you know, we start referring to them as the dads, like as a term of affection. But then you've got a guy like Kojima who's been a dad for years, and he's putting on bangers in Noah for this entire year. Suddenly, he's the tag champ, and he's facing Kenta and Marufuji. Yeah, I think he will get a big send off one way or another. Obviously, they do dedicate entire shows to retirements. Muta's fucking retiring at Tokyo Dome because he's such a legend. You know what I mean? That's such a baller move. But I don't know if we get a big handing of the torch again, because I think that happened with Okada.
Yeah, it did.
Do you know what I mean? I don't know that you get a rivalry where that happens. It might be more of a team up like that we've got at this Wrestle Kingdom. I don't think it's happening now, but I could see Shota Umino certainly getting the pin here. Like, you know, Muto hits his finisher, Tanahashi hits his finisher, and then Shota gets the pin over Bushi, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. I think he's still got a lot left in the tank, just on occasion. You know, like this year he had that banger with Ishii for the vacant US title.
And they had the match at Wrestle Kingdom earlier with Kenta.
With Kenta.
It does.
Was that a hardcore match or something?
With the
Yeah,
hardcore
that
match,
was
with
nice.
the high five flow to the.
Oh my
I think
God.
that was the last straw for his knees.
I love
that was
that.
the
That
last
was the
straw for his
craziest
knees.
thing.
I really
Fuck.
enjoyed that match.
Yeah.
But
He
yeah,
has
like
it in him.
I think he can still like, and obviously he was Forbidden Door. Forbidden Door. He headlined that against John Moxley. You know, no one had a bad word to say coming out of that match. It's gonna be a lot. They're gonna be fewer and farther between. Like he's gonna be coming a middle guy in the G1. He's not gonna be a contender. You know what I mean? He's gonna help the younger guys, I suppose.
guys
Like,
over.
yeah, exactly.
Cool. Guys, that is it. Hiroshi Tanahashi, 4.5 out of 5 as a wrestler. Thank you to Ola, NK, and Kieran that have come through today. Guys, in the comments, let us know any other wrestlers you want us to rate right here. Break it down. Make sure you subscribe to WRESTHINGS and hit the like button as well. And we'll catch you in the next one. We are talking today about the Beast, the Conqueror, Brock Lesnar.
He looks like a superhero and a supervillain. Wait, can I ask though? Do you want Brock Lesnar to do them type of promos?
No.
Do you?
I think Brock Lesnar is probably one or two the best sellers in wrestling.
You know? I think the only amazing thing I felt was when he done the shooting star press, but guess what, big man, you missed. So I don't know.